Salute, 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 ATP. It's your boy Claymore Rain. It's that ATP Combat Media Show. You know how we carrying it, or the Claymore Rain Project, however you want to look at it. It is a project, day by day we building. Shout out to my subscribers. If this is the first time tapping into the content, listen, man, I invite you to go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit your bell icon so you get all the alert when this content is dropping. So, Jaron Ennis, Cody Crowley looks like is not going through. I mean, what's a play to do, right? At the end of the day, when you're looking at the bigger picture here right now, Jaron Ennis in this 147-pound weight class division, it's got to raise some questions, right? This fight was supposed to be July 13th. This was going to be Jaron Ennis's come out in Philadelphia, Wells Fargo Center, big show. Lined this up to happen with Cody Crowley. And of course, at this point, what we're looking at is Cody Crowley having injuries to his eye, which I always knew was an issue. I think it was not hidden. It was public information that Cody Crowley was dealing with some injuries to his eye. And I thought the fight wasn't even going to get scheduled because of that. But when you see them put a press conference out like that, you assume that certain precautions have been taken to make sure that Cody Crowley's eye is good to go, that he can pass all physicals, any type of medical requirements or physical requirements that he needed to meet to make this fight happen. You would think would already have been ironed out, but clearly he didn't, as the doctors went ahead, checked on Cody Crowley, and they wouldn't give him an okay for the fight. All that hype put into the press conference, tickets being sold, from what I understand, all around Philadelphia. I'm hearing like this is selling very well. Packed out event. Everybody just want to see Jaron fight, which is a good and a bad thing. It's bad because obviously Cody pulling out of the fight does take some steam out of the event, but at the same time, Jaron Ennis garners so much attention in Philadelphia. Honestly, whoever he fights, I'm sure people will show up to see him fight, but it's still a letdown. Now, the question is, moving forward, what does Jaron Ennis do at this point? Listen, man, I've been an advocate of activity in boxing, a big advocate for it. I think a lot of these fighters are suffering from not fighting regularly, right? Somebody like Jaron Ennis is a perfect example of somebody. I believe that activity is something that's key, not only to keep him sharp on his skills, but also to build this fighter up into the star that I believe Jaron Ennis is, right? But he had an issue with Cameron Duncan passing away last year, not being able to get fights scheduled because Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence were working on coordinating their unification for undisputed in the welterweight division. He had to stand by and watch that, as he was a mandatory for the IBF. And then ultimately, after that fight was done, a rematch clause was activated that once again sat Jaron Ennis to the sideline and had him being inactive as he was waiting on his opportunity to become a champion at 147, not taking any other fights, hyper focused on becoming a champion. Respect to that. Terrence Crawford, even though he made his statements on the Breakfast Club and different platforms that he wasn't interested in fighting Jaron Ennis, but still holding on to those belts. I made an argument a little while ago, not a little while ago, but I'll say about last year, around this time last year, let's be honest, after the Jaron Ennis Roman Villa fight, I said, listen, man, is it far-fetched that Jaron Ennis might consider going up to 154 if 147 seems to be stagnant for him? Because I want him to be active. A lot of people thought I was trying to chase him out of the division or make reasons for him not to become a champion or whatever have you, but it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with activity. And right now what we're looking at is Jaron Ennis has been having a hard time lining up the fights that he needs to achieve the goals that he wants at 147. So what does he do now? Well, people are bringing up all types of potential replacements that they would think of, but I think a lot of the replacements at 147 do look like, people didn't want to take a fight with Jaron Ennis when he was giving them a whole camp, a whole 3 months or whatever have you. 3 months or whatever have you of a full camp to get ready to fight him, they wouldn't take the fight. So what's the chance of somebody really trying to fight Jaron Ennis with 5.5 weeks notice at this point? Normally you would say that wouldn't be a big deal to put something together like that, and especially the opportunity of being in a big stage like that, in a main event in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Center, to be able to be part of something like that, you would think is an opportunity for a fighter to take advantage of. But Jaron Boots Ennis has not been the kind of fighter that has been able to get fighters who are just outly volunteering to fight him, right? So 154, 147, at this point, Jaron Boots Ennis needs to be active, right? It doesn't even matter at this point who he fights. You've heard plenty of people. I'm hearing people bringing up Virgil Ortiz as somebody that he should potentially be looking to fight. Well, Virgil Ortiz is supposedly fighting at 154. Yes, granted, his fight with Tim Tszyu has been canceled, so there is an opportunity there. Virgil Ortiz does seem to be available, right, to make a fight happen. But Virgil Ortiz hasn't even made 154 officially yet. And we saw he had medical issues at 147. So at 147, Virgil Ortiz is going to fight there. Would Boots Ennis consider going to 154 to fight Virgil Ortiz? And on what grounds, right? Because Virgil Ortiz on that August 3rd card as a co-main event to Terrence Crawford and Ismail Madrimov, in my opinion, makes sense for Boots to go over there and fight him on that co-main event. I mean, people have been looking to line up a way for him to get into a fight with Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence. So this puts him right in that conversation. But the team over there, Bozy, Boots Ennis, the Boots team is very focused on him being undisputed at 147 and achieving those goals. And once again, I can respect it. I'm here for it. But without the fights happening, how realistic is that goal, right? So would Boots at the same time also be okay with leaving his event, right? Wells Fargo, Philadelphia. He's the headliner. His coming out party. Is his first fight with Eddie Hearns and Matchroom. Would he be willing to leave that alone to jump on a co-main event card on the Terrence Crawford and Ismail Madrimov? I think he should consider it. How about that? I'm not going to say leave your event, but something to consider, because it's a big fight. It's Turkey Al Sheik. I'm sure the pay would make sense. Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis would be a great fight. It was a fight that I thought was going to happen at 147 before Virgil Ortiz went through what he went through with his medical ailments that were holding him back from putting together fights at 147. So I can see a story being built there. But on top of that, at 154, there's a lot of fights there for Boots Ennis that are exciting fights for the fan base. I mean, you got Erickson Lubitson up there. That'd be a great fight. You know what I mean? You got a lot of fighters up there. Obviously, Errol, obviously Terrence Crawford, Sebastian Fundora, Jermell Charlo. Just a lot of fights up there that could be made, that could be exciting. Undisputed opportunities up there for him as well. The champions, I'm sure would be willing to fight him up there. I don't see the reason why Jaron should stay in a division that's going to keep him inactive for going on a year now. And who knows how it's going to look lining up the other fights. Now, who do we have inside that weight class, right? In that weight division, you have Mario Barrios, obviously. You got Emilianis Stanionis, right? You have him up there. These are all interim champions, but as soon as Terrence Crawford releases those belts and has those belts pulled off of him, these guys are going to get upgraded. I think Mario Barrios may have already been upgraded. Don't quote me yet. Just knowing that the WBC putting Terrence Crawford as a champion in recess, I do believe that upgrade, it's very reasonable that upgrade is there for Mario Barrios as far as the WBC is concerned, him being a champion. So there's unification title fight there that Boots Ennis might be interested in putting together with Mario Barrios. But Mario Barrios just fought on the Canelo Alvarez undercard, right? How long ago was that? That was Cinco de Mayo. That was about a month ago. So May, June, July, maybe they give him maybe they give Mario Barrios the opportunity. Maybe he takes it, even though he's over there at PBC. But I think that could still get put together. Being that I see the PBC working with Turkey with some fights, that can happen. But ultimately, at the end of the day, whether it's Mario Barrios, whether it's Emiliano Stanionis, or even maybe a Brian Norman Jr., who's a WBO champion right now, interim, right? Interim champion right now. Even if it's any one of those guys, it could be a good fight. But any of those guys going to be willing to take a fight with Boots Ennis, who's probably the biggest threat, the most dominating force in 147 pounds now, with a 5-week notice? Maybe, maybe not. Time will tell that story, right? But where does he go is going to be the big question. Me, go wherever the activity's at. Wherever the fights can be made at that can get you busy. Boots said in an interview that the reason he picked Eddie Hearn in Matchroom was for activity. He said it doesn't even matter anymore. He just needs to fight, and he wants to fight often. Minimum 3 times a year, maybe even 4 times a year. And I'm here for that, right? I'm sure you guys are here for it too as well. Those fights come out that just makes great boxing. But let's see what Boots does. You know, there are opportunities out there for him. Maybe not the way that he wanted to pan out. Is he willing to sit back and just not fight in this event if they can't find a replacement? Obviously, this is on Eddie Hearn to find somebody to put in there with Boots. Maybe a Conor Benn. I'm hearing even rumors of a Conor Benn being something that might be realistic, being that Conor Benn can't really fight in England right now with his issues. And, you know, some sanctioning bodies might have some restrictions on what he's allowed to do, being that he's in the middle of a dispute on PD allegations, right? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think, all right? Put it in the comments. What's next for Boots Ennis? What makes sense for Boots Ennis at this point? And I think he just has some bad luck in that 147 weight class division. And I've been calling it for a long time. And a lot of these fighters need to start figuring out what activity looks like for them. What does activity look like for you? Does it look like you trying to get the best fights you can get, or you actually getting the best fights you can get? David Benavidez made a solid decision for himself and wouldn't allow an activity to be part of his trajectory, and put himself in the light heavyweight division to try to put himself in line with becoming a light heavyweight champion. Fighters are making moves, you know, to make the biggest fights happen. You know, you have Isaac Cruz, who went up to 140 pounds to become become a WBO champion up there, you know, making the best opportunities, you know what I'm saying, staying active. Now he's about to fight Rayo Venezuela for that 140 title on the line. Ryan Venezuela also stepping up and looking for his opportunity, not waiting on a Tank Davis or other fights, you know, Shakur Stevens or other fights at 135. Moving on to the next opportunity. Activity is key. You know, Tim Tszyu took advantage of activity. Anthony Joshua took advantage of activity, and these guys have become better for it. Sitting on the sideline doesn't pay. When you look at, you know, Deontay Wilder, for example, you know, and his activity and his results that he's been getting as of late. So we'll see what Boots does. Guys, leave it in the comment. Hey, like I told you guys, man, if this is your first time tapping into the content, I invite you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit your bell icon so you get all the alerts when this content is dropping. I believe we're about 940 something as far as subscribers are concerned. Trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. We will be doing a cash giveaway once we hit that 1,000 subscriber. That 1,000 subscriber will be doing a cash giveaway. I'll give more in detail on how we're going to coordinate that once we get to that spot. But you know, I appreciate you all the support that we've been getting. Leave a comment, let me know what you're thinking. But at this point, it's your boy Clay Moraine. It's that ATP Combat Media Show. We out.